Hey everyone, welcome to the SCB Steelers Podcast, presented by DEK Roofing Incorporated of South Florida. And oh boy, last week Ben and I were very wrong in our predictions.
I would have been very wrong too if I had been
here. I mean, we both had the Ravens winning quite handily, and you know, I'm not making excuses. I know, Ben, you wouldn't either, but I think we kind of looked at what had happened the week before. We looked at
I was happy to be wrong.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I'll definitely take it. A 20-19 win for the Steelers, and I mean, beating the Ravens, awesome. Beating John Harbaugh, any Harbaugh, great. Yeah,
he got you into the college football playoff, and you still want him to lose. I love it.
A quick segue on that. I have no problem saying the guy did a good job. That team has turned around. I mean, they were really one or two bad plays from being undefeated, but I still don't like them. I mean, it's, I can't, say anything different than that. I don't want to do that one or that one.
My head's right over TJ Watt's body. I looked up.
There we go. I was trying to find the one I wanted here. That's a little better. Anyway, welcome in. Steelers are 6-5-1. They are on a short week. Thus, that's the reason we are recording a little earlier this week. They are off to the land of 10,000 lakes in Minnesota. They will play the Vikings, who are fresh off a loss to the Detroit Lions on the very last play of the game. The Vikings are banged up as well. They've got some injury issues. I will say this. I watched quite a bit of that game against the Lions. They got I like that running back, Madison, I think his name is. Man, kid runs hard. And granted, Detroit defense, but we've got experience with the Detroit defense too, right? Against Mason Rudolph, no less. But so I expect this to be a very intriguing game, as most Thursday night games are, but we will definitely get into that moving forward. Ben, your initial thoughts on the 20-19 win over the Ravens?
The offensive line played better.
They did.
The end. I mean, the linebackers were a little more aggressive and they were a little more disciplined with their gaps.
Yep.
Montravius Adams.
Nice addition.
It's only one game. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but did you see how fast he was getting off the ball?
Night and day, isn't it?
That was ridiculous. And he was chasing plays down the sideline. I mean, he's not a fast guy, but the effort was there.
Yeah.
I was like, why is this guy? And then John Leglue comes in for BJ Finney when he hurts his back. And I'm like, John Leglue got a helmet tonight and is playing at left guard. Great.
Oh, I know.
He looked fine. Honestly, he looked better than Finney, especially run blocking. I was like, okay.
I initially said, I'm glad this guy hasn't been a liability. And then going back and watching a little bit more of it, he was moving guys down the line. He was opening holes. He did a very nice job. Very nice. I thought so too.
And Adams did a nice job. He plugged holes. He took away both gaps in the inside. He was kicking the shit out of that center. And his get off on the ball. And granted, when you're the nose tackle, you have a huge advantage because you can sit there and you can wait. You don't need to time it. When the ball moves, go.
Yep.
And God, he was doing great. Oh, I was just, man. That guy was a huge improvement. And he allowed Cam not to play nose, which
was also
huge. Gave Cam a big game. And Chris Wormley, where the hell did that come from? 2.5 sacks? What the hell?
And he was counting them too. This guy gets like 3 in his career, and he's counting them in the same night.
Wormley doubled his stats this year. Coming into the game, he had 2.5 sacks and 3 quarterback hits, and in this game, he had 2.5 sacks and 3 quarterback hits. So, yeah, and I think some of it was motivation too, right? That Adams had been on a practice squad, like he gets picked up to another roster, like this is your chance to make something happen. And they even said when they picked him up that like he was a guy who was known for a quick get off on the ball. So that didn't surprise me, but was good to see. But I think it's that extra motivation of like, oh, hey, now I'm playing for a job. I'm not just like here on a practice squad kind of waiting for somebody to get hurt so I can fill a roster spot. It's like this team gave me a shot. I'm going to go take it. Right.
Yeah. And I think they gave them both very simple assignments this week.
Yeah.
And basically we're like, hey, do this. We're not going to tell you to read a whole lot. We're not going to tell you to react to a whole lot. We're going to call the defense. What this defense is called, you're going to do this.
Yeah. And Wormley had been traded away by Baltimore, so there's your motivation too.
Motivation.
Yeah. Wormley was traded away, and Tomlin talked about that after the game. He said, I told him when he got here, when a team trades you to a team within the division, they're telling you what they think of you. That's true. And I hope that he plays like this every time he plays Baltimore.
Yeah,
that's a quote.
Oh no, and I would sign on to it.
If he plays like this every time he plays Baltimore, it makes the trade worth it. I've been on the record here of saying he sucks, but if he plays like this every time he plays Baltimore, he can do whatever in the other games.
Ian, you were in attendance on Sunday.
I was.
What was the mood of the crowd? Because let's be honest, for essentially 3 quarters, that offense was nothing, and the place was a great crowd.
It was.
But it took some time.
I mean,
here's what I'll say. That the week before, I was really worried because there was a lot of tickets for sale online. And I was like, oh, shit, this is going to be like half Baltimore fans because, the Steelers had been down. Baltimore's coming in. But it was the Steelers fans showed up. I mean, it wasn't a big crowd. There was, they didn't even get
they had 9,000 no-shows, man.
Yeah. But nevertheless, like it was not an overwhelmingly Baltimore crowd. Like I've been at games where I've been like, wow, there's a lot of opposing fans here, but it was not that way at this game. It was strongly Steelers heavy. And so I was relieved when I went into the stadium and didn't see a whole bunch of fucking purple because I friggin' hate that color to begin with.
Same.
And then, part of it was too, like, I think myself included, everyone came in expecting us to get killed, right? But you get to the end of the first quarter and it's 0-0. You get to halftime and you're still kind of in the game, right? And you're kind of like, we're not dead yet. We still have, you get that, we got that score before halftime on the 2-minute drive, and you're like, all right, well, we're getting the ball after halftime. Maybe we make something happen, keep this a game. And the Steelers stayed in it long enough that I never heard, besides the super drunk assholes that were sitting behind me, that they walked into the stadium and they're like, oh, so should we start a Fire Tomlin chant right now or just later? And I was like, oh my goodness, I got to listen to these guys the whole game. And, and like every time something happened, they're like, oh, it's Tomlin's fault. And I was like, I'm sitting there thinking like, yeah, because Mike Tomlin like let that guy run wide open and down the middle of the field, like or Mike Tomlin didn't block their their guy.
Yeah.
That you can call the best play in the world, but if you don't go out and execute it, it doesn't matter. Like the players on the field bear some responsibility here too. Nevertheless,
most of it actually.
But nevertheless, like generally speaking, the crowd was into it the whole time, and then the all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, it was like, holy shit, we have a chance to win this game, right? Like, and
when we got to 10-9, I mean, even though Boz missed that kick, that was the turning point for me. It was like, okay, we got a ball game.
Yeah.
And it just felt like the momentum was shifting right there.
Yeah. And it was, I mean, the atmosphere at the end was incredible. I mean,
it was.
In retrospect, you know what it reminded me a lot of? Remember that Cowboys game when Diontae Johnson had the pick 6?
Yes,
that was great.
Tony Romo.
It reminded me a lot of that game because that game, I think Dallas was up like 10-3 or 13-3, and we went for it on like 4th and goal at the 1 and didn't get it with like 8 minutes left in the game. Everyone's like, "Oh fuck, we're screwed," you know.
Yeah.
And then like we stop them, we came back and scored, and you know, and we tied the game. It might have been 13-6 at that point. We tied it. It was 13-13. Ben hit Heath Miller on that little out route, and then it was 2 minutes left, and we called a timeout, and everyone's like, "Oh, what the fuck's going on?" And then Deshae got that pick 6. It's like, "Oh," So it kind of reminded me of that it was just like, for so much of the game, we just couldn't do anything, but the score was still close enough that we weren't out of it.
No.
And all of a sudden, boom, you score 1 touchdown or 2 touchdowns. And really coming into the game, right? My dad asked me before the game how I felt about it. And I was like, not good, but like Baltimore hasn't scored a lot of points lately. Like Baltimore's been scoring in the teens for a month now.
And they keep turning the ball over.
Yeah. And this felt like just the kind of game where, the Steelers were playing terrible. Baltimore looked good. But this was the kind of game that seemed like one where the Steelers were going to come out and like hold their own, that they weren't going to get there. Just knowing this team and watching this team for so long, it's like, the games you expect them to kill somebody, they either barely win or they lose. The games you expect them to get killed, they somehow keep it close. And this was one of those games where you expected them to get killed and they somehow kept it close and wound up winning.
I think there had to have been a pretty deep sense of embarrassment after the Cincinnati game.
I hope so.
Yeah, rightfully so. I mean, TJ Watt actually used the term embarrassing, and while some players or coaches would use that just kind of in passing, I think he was obviously very, very serious about it. And we aren't privy to what some of those meetings had as far as discussion, but I think there were some pretty blunt words that must have been spoken heading into this game against Baltimore. And
rumor has it that the players meeting was a little raucous.
I would imagine
way where people were just like, shut the fuck up, go back to work, stop whining about what other people aren't doing, do your fucking job.
Yep. And
that's basically the gist of what I heard. And granted, it's probably fourth hand what I'm getting. So, who knows how true that is or how it was phrased. But I wanted to get back to what Ian was talking about with the offense. And you guys realize that Ben's 2 best passes were incompletions, and they were on the money. The one was a post route.
Diontae at the goal line at the end of the first half.
Yeah,
that was a beautiful ball.
That was a beautiful ball. It was right on target. It was perfect. All he had to do was look it in, bring it into his chest, and it was 6. And he dropped the damn ball. And he's well over 100 targets, and he's got 2 drops. I'm not being critical, but he fucked up in a big moment, and he should not have done that. And then the other one was that reversal. That was absolutely a catch. I am sorry. That was a catch. If you call that a catch on the field, you cannot reverse it. There was nothing irrefutable in that. What?
Well, that was the problem.
Horseshit.
Yeah, that was the problem that I had is initially I said, okay, all right, so it moves, but you've called it a catch on the field.
Right.
There's no way you're going to be able to have enough evidence to say it's not a catch.
And he'd pulled it in before it moved.
Right.
He pulled it into his body before it moved with 2 hands on it. It was a catch.
Yeah. And I agree with you. And that was another good ball.
Yeah.
I mean, if he was holding it out here and the ball moved in his hands, yes.
Sure.
He didn't bring it in. He didn't make a football move. I get it.
Yep.
But he brought the ball in. He was protecting it. He was brought to the ground. Yes. At that point, it moved. But so he had it.
Yeah.
It was already a catch. He stuck a catch there.
We've gotten way too deep into what in the hell's a catch and what isn't. It's just
ridiculous.
Nuts. It is.
It's ridiculous.
It is.
I'll say this for Diontae though. I mean, he made up for that drop in a big
way.
Did.
He did.
Bounced back.
He had a nice game. He did.
Hey,
I'm not being critical.
Right.
Where do you guys
those passes were absolutely that cost Ben 75 yards and a touchdown. I'm gonna say maybe 80.
Oh yeah, he would have been over 3. Yeah, 300. But let me ask you guys about Deontay Johnson. We know the drop problems, and he's done just tremendous at improving that. Where do you put him in terms of, I guess, other NFL receivers? And then secondly, is he putting himself in a position where he really needs a second contract? Ben, tackle that one first.
Well, I would expect that he will get a second contract next year. He is undeniably their number one receiver right now.
Yeah.
Regardless of who the quarterback is. He's going into his last year in 2022.
Right.
And yeah, I would expect that he'll get a new deal at somewhere between $18 and $20 million a year. Yes. That's the rate now. And and he is that kind of a player. He's going to get it. And if they do not extend him that kind of an offer, his agent would be doing a disservice to accept it, because if he goes out in the open market, he might make more. He might make 25.
Yeah.
I
agree.
Somebody like Bruce Arians, who already covets him, might want to sign him, for example.
No, that's a good point.
So you're going to sign him, which, leads you back to, okay, the Steelers only ever pay one receiver.
Right.
And do they bring back Juju?
Yeah.
Do they bring back Juju? Probably not.
Probably not. And honestly, at this point, I mean, Chase Claypool's taken a major step back. I mean, he just isn't, I thought he was going to take a big step forward this year.
You know who absolutely laid into him on Saturday? Was
it Hayward?
God, no. Former Steeler. Why am I can see
Ryan
his
Clark.
face. No.
Chris Holt.
No, film analyst. Think.
Merrill
Hodge.
Hodge.
Merrill Hodge. There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely laid into him. He's like, look at this effort. He's not blocking downfield. He catches the ball. He falls down. His routes are sloppy. He's not. He's running his routes sloppy as hell. He's lazy. His get off is. He's like, his first year success went to his head. He's not working hard anymore. It's clear the effort's not there. He laid into him. He's like, this guy has
Merrill's never been one to mix words. I mean, So I don't. Ian, what were your thoughts on Diontae? Because I really think that he's a guy you got to bring back. And
I agree. And he's a guy who can make plays with the ball in his hands from anywhere on the field. Like there's some guys you have to throw them open or you have to get them the ball, but Diontae's been able to make plays in a variety of ways, whether it's those little wide receiver screens, whether it's, catching a slant pass. Like, how many slants have we thrown to him this year that he's then taken for 20, 30, 40 yards? Like more than two, right? Like at least
easy.
5. And I mean, I don't know if I'd put him in the realm of like what the contract Michael Thomas got from the Saints, but I'd certainly put him in the realm of, somewhere around like better than Cooper Kupp and Jarvis Landry, who got $15 million a year. So I think Ben's range is probably about right. You're probably talking 17 and a half, somewhere in there, that gets him into being one of the top 10.
I really think it's going to be closer to the 20 mil. I mean, the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL makes 25.
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't think that he's in Hopkins' class, but to say that he should make 80% of what Hopkins makes, that's a fair assessment, and maybe a little more. Because 20 mil a year in 5 years is going to look like a bargain.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I was looking at like Michael Thomas at like 19 and Tyreek Hill at 18 and saying, okay, I don't think he's better than those guys.
Yeah, but how old are those contracts? That's what they're going to look at. They're going to look at how old the contracts are and, what last year's market was and who got paid what in 2020, 2019. And that's what they're going to base it on. And then they're also going to base it on overall impact and say, look, very well that what I'm asking for is going to be a bargain in 2 years.
Yeah. No, that's very true. Yeah.
Pay me.
Yeah.
Thomas and Hill both signed in 2019, which was also before the COVID cap setback all happened too.
True. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Hey, everybody, just a reminder, we are presented by DEK Roofing of South Florida. DEK serves Broward and the southern Palm Beach counties. Whether it's commercial, industrial, residential, or condos, contact DEK Roofing today by visiting deckroofing.com.
Do they do multifamily?
Did I say?
Do they do multifamily?
Yeah,
They will. Yes, they will. I've
Are you
seen
sure?
them.
What
do
about mixed
Are you
use?
sure?
Do they do mixed use, Mark?
I don't know. I'll have to look into that.
I'm pretty sure they do.
I'll contact John Deck right away. Actually, it's way past John Deck's bedtime, so
I'm betting they do mixed use.
This goes
I'm
back
sure.
to the time Ben and I had to do the show
did.
without you.
Oh
And
yeah,
Ben was like,
I argued with him. I'm like, I don't think they do multifamily.
they just
I think
do
they're
roofing.
wrong.
They roof.
I think they do residential and commercial, but not multifamily. Yeah, and then we got on the next time. I was like, yeah, multifamily. Oh, yeah, well, guess they do.
Ian, what'd you think of John Harbaugh's decision to go for 2?
Ballsy.
You know,
Oh, huge nuts.
all right. I got to give a shout out to my dude Vinny, who I know listens to the podcast now. He sits next to me at the games.
Oh, beautiful.
He just got married, so congratulations.
Hey,
He brought his new wife
congratulations,
to the
Vinny.
game too. But they're driving down the field, and he turns to me. He says, "Do you think they go for 2 if they score here?" And I'm like, "I sure as fuck hope not, 'cause I don't know if we can stop Lamar from 2 yards out."
right.
And then all of a sudden they line up for 2, and I'm like, "Oh shit, here we go." But I mean, TJ Watt, holy shit, what a game from TJ Watt!
Right?
I mean,
Yeah.
he didn't practice all week. He had a positive COVID test because he had to sit out, and then all of a sudden, like, was it 3.5 sacks? But that number doesn't even do it justice because like a couple of those, I think at least 3 of those were half sacks that he split with Wormley. So I mean, he was just in there all the time.
Yeah,
and
relentless.
And defensively, I'm kind of surprised that more teams haven't copied the scheme the Steelers use against the Ravens, because they've used this for a few years now, where both of their outside linebackers attack that mesh point between, where the quarterback tries to read somebody and decide whether to hand it off or keep it. But when both outside guys are attacking that, usually when you have that mesh point, one of them's going one way and one of them's going the other way, and you're going to run into both outside guys. And the point of that, like, quarterback read play is that you're reading the guy you can see in front of you that's coming. And, if he crashes the running back, you tuck it and run around him. But when you have a guy coming from the backside, that completely blows that whole system up. And I think that's why we've had a lot of success against the Ravens where other teams haven't, because we've done that. I mean, I remember 2 years ago, we were on this show saying, like, what was Bud Dupree doing? And literally what he was doing every play was his guy was Lamar Jackson. So regardless of whether Lamar handed it off or kept it, Dupree was just running at Lamar.
Running right at Lamar.
Yeah. But, in retrospect, 2 years later, that scheme has worked how many times now to slow them down? So, I mean, a great game for TJ. And just all around doing everything.
And you got on his
specifically on that one play specifically.
Right.
What he did was brilliant. He didn't bite on the fake, 1. 2, when he got up close to Lamar, he stopped. He reached for a point of balance.
Yep.
And then he went after him. He did not want to give him the opportunity to go around him and score. He wanted to make sure he stayed in front of him and threw the ball. And thank goodness he did, because he put just enough arc outside to get around TJ that the pass wasn't quite catchable.
Right.
I mean, that's not to say that Lamar's a great passer. We all know his elusiveness is what makes him so damn dangerous. He'll just keep working until he's out in the open, and then, I'm open. Choo,
He Watt was on the phone with Peter King, and Peter King wrote it up in his thing at Pro Football Talk, and it's really cool just because he said almost exactly what you just said, Ben, in terms of keeping his balance, trying to make sure that Lamar didn't get out and around him, and just essentially being a hindrance. And that's what he did, and it was just enough because the play was there. Unfortunately,
he sold out 100% to Lamar. And that made the play, because if they completed that pass,
he's in.
Probably would have gone in.
Yeah.
And then we all would have been going, God damn it, Boswell, why'd you have to miss that damn kick?
Oh man.
Right? And Boz has been really good this year.
He's been great. Yeah.
But that's not the time to miss a kick, dude. Come on.
Well, and Tomlin made the comment. What was it? He says, well, hey, Boz has bailed us out a lot of times this year, so it was nice we could do that.
So it was nice we could bail him out. The other thing that struck me right after the game when Tomlin was speaking, they said, hey, Mike, given how well TJ played tonight, is he ever going to practice again?
Yeah.
And Tomlin said, yes, he is, and there will be no music. Yes, he will.
I tell you,
no music.
Tomlin's got a memory like an elephant. He just doesn't let that stuff go. Because he commented on it earlier in the week, and
the whole press corps laughed their asses off. It was fantastic.
Oh no, that's great. And I think the youngster Claypool meant all that in the best way possible. But stay in your lane, Junior.
Jesus,
for sure. Is Watt, Ian, is he headed for Defensive Player of the Year?
Oh, I mean, yes, absolutely. I mean, there's no way they can shaft him for a third straight year. Let's put this in perspective here, right? He's played 10 out of 12 games and already has 16 sacks, which ties the Steelers' single season record, right? Mark, we did I was thinking about this. We did the season preview show. I think Ben was out that week. And one of your over under things was like, does TJ Watt get to 16 sacks? And I was like, well, they're probably going to double team him more. I don't know, but they have the extra game. He got to 16 sacks in 10 games. At this point, you're not talking about breaking the Steelers record. You're talking about breaking Michael Strahan's record. Yeah, I mean, if he stays healthy, he's absolutely the Defensive Player of the Year, and we might be talking about a new sack record. Yeah.
Well, you look at the quarterbacks he's got left. I mean, he's going to play Lamar again in the season finale, so he's liable to pick up a couple there, just based on what he did Sunday. And a couple of the other teams, he's got Mayfield left,
who sucks,
right? Mahomes will be a little more difficult.
No, Baker deserves $50 million a year. You guys both shut up.
Well, that's true.
$50 million.
Even Kareem Hunt
5 years, fully guaranteed, all of it.
Give it all of them.
Fully guaranteed contract. $250 million in 5 years.
On the Defensive Player of the Year with him, there's no doubt in my mind.
Hands down. One other thing I wanted to note just on the defense too.
Yeah.
That Lamar Jackson is not good throwing outside the numbers. He's a pretty good middle of the field
he's
thrower.
He's not a good passer, period.
Sails it so often.
He's not a good passer, period. What he does very well is move and then find a lane. Find a lane as he's moving. And when he finds the throwing lane, then he tosses it in there. He makes it easy on himself. Don't get me wrong. He's dangerous.
Oh,
the guy is going to torture us for years.
Yep.
But he's not a good passer. He's not that guy.
No. He very true. It's a good comment. Very inaccurate at times. And
but what I was getting at was actually that when Baltimore intentionally jumped off sides, I thought it was kind of brilliant on their part because they needed their I was talking to my dad who was with me at the game, and he was like, look, Lamar's not throwing to the outside. Like, he has to use the middle of the field. They need to save timeouts for when they get the ball back. And that was a pretty smart move to jump off sides there with 2 minutes left.
Steelers should have declined it.
Yep.
Yeah. Although
Steelers should have just said nope.
The way we were running the ball in short yard situations, though, it was like
that's why you can understand why they did accept it.
It was 2nd and 3. Like, what's your confidence we pick up a 2nd and 3 into a first down?
I don't know, but the Steelers ran the ball much better.
Get it in there behind Leglue.
Get it in there behind Leglue and Derek Watt. Let's go. Let's run the old I formation.
Love it. I love seeing that every once in a while.
The slanted eye.
Yes. Yep.
The offset eye. I love that.
I'm all for it.
We use the pistol set, which I love. I love the pistol. And that worked out really well for us too.
Just on the defensive side, real quick, I did want to mention that Cam Hayward is once again the team's
man.
Walter Payton Man of the Year candidate. I obviously we're biased, but we definitely want to see him win. He's extremely deserving, all the stuff that he does in the community, and just for being an all around good individual. But we know he was under the weather. Now, it wasn't COVID, but he was under the weather and wasn't there on Friday. And he played a heck of a game too. So, I mean, it's just
Cam played well.
He did. What about the no huddle? Is it time? Is it finally time that Mike Tomlin just embrace it and say, look, this is when Ben's at his best. Why do I always wait until we're in a dire situation to do it?
They had to wait because the offensive line wasn't capable of executing.
Yeah, fair point.
Okay, so now they are running more no huddle and they're running more muddle.
Mm-hmm. Muddle, yeah, exactly.
And they're running the same shitty RPOs, but and honestly, there were some instances too that I counted while I was watching the game, and I haven't rewatched it. I'll be honest. Yeah, where I thought Ben held the ball too long in those RPOs, and that's why the play was fucked up. I mean, you got to get the ball out quick,
right
now.
Right.
You got to make the decision at the line, and then you got to get it out. And your wide receiver has to see it too, and he's got to be ready for the ball. And that's one of my criticisms of Claypool this year is he's not looking for it.
Yeah.
But Ben's calling a lot more plays. He's audibling more at the line. They're doing more no huddle. They're doing more muddle. And maybe we've finally gotten to the point with this offensive line, maybe, fingers crossed, that they can do more of this for the stretch run, because Matt Canada hasn't been very good this year. I'm just going to put it out there. And maybe he's not running the full arsenal of his offense because he's got to deal with a 39-year-old hobbled quarterback.
I would say that's true.
Who's a statue in the pocket.
Yeah.
And I get it. And you can't bench that guy. It is what it is. And I don't expect Matt Canada to get fired or anything along those lines. But if by some tragedy Mason Rudolph ends up being our starter in 2022, and I expect him to get a shot at it, it's not like Mason's very mobile. It's not like Mason can do the things that you saw quarterbacks do in Matt Canada's offense when he was running it in college. So let's just say my outlook is less than optimistic if Mason ends up being the guy. And if we sign another Kent Graham to compete with Mason, it's going to be the same result. You're going to have a guy back there with a big arm who can't move, who gets sacked a lot.
So what you're saying is we shouldn't draft Carson Strong from Nevada, who's like a statue with a giant arm.
And a bad knee.
Yeah.
He's been battling a knee injury since high school. I don't. He's coming over here. He's going to play against my Western Michigan Broncos in the ever popular Quick Lane Bowl at Ford Field. And
did that used to be the Pizza Bowl?
It was. Oh boy, this is some history.
It was like the Little Caesars
Cherry Bowl.
The Little Caesars Bowl?
The Little Caesars.
That's a bowl? Seriously?
Oh,
you're not kidding. You're being serious.
It was the Hot and Ready Bowl.
Oh yeah,
Hot and Ready Bowl.
Yep. The only thing
hot and ready used to be a Hot and Ready on the
pile of crap from two crap teams. Hey, real quick, don't forget that we are very proud to be part of the Pigskin Podcast Network, and as part of that, we are very happy to partner with DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now using promo code TPPN. Bet $1 on any team to score and win $100 in free bets. If they score, you score with promo code TPPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Okay. Moving along ever so slightly here.
Very slightly.
Ever so slightly. Alex Highsmith had Al Villanueva on skates a number of times, and I, for one, enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah, Al's not
now,
good.
Highsmith is still a work in progress as far as I'm concerned. I think he gave up a little bit in terms of contain a few times. It got outside of him. But, man, the kid is progressing in the right direction, and at least I think so.
But Al's not good.
No, Al is not good. Al is not good. And
on the other hand, the Vikings are missing Christian Darrisaw.
They are.
He's out injured.
Yeah, they're banged up on their offensive line.
So, this may be a good week for Mr. Highsmith, young Mr. Highsmith, to have a nice game. Yeah, I'm hoping so.
And
I'll say
actually,
this too.
Go ahead, Ian.
Highsmith gave up a couple, like where it looked like he had contained, and either a guy got around to the outside or to the inside. Yeah. But he also made a couple plays setting the edge. So he missed a couple, but he made a couple too. A couple tackles for loss, couple that he turned back in that guys were able to clean up. So he missed a couple, but he made a couple really good plays too on the edge.
Was Devin Bush better on Sunday?
Yes.
Yes and no.
I think so.
I mean,
he was better, but let's just acknowledge the fact that he was starting at shit, and he was better.
Right.
He wasn't where TJ is.
He was better than shit.
But he was better. He was better than bad.
Yeah.
He's still not back to his pre-injury.
Oh, no.
He's not himself yet. And we agree on this. And I hope that he regains his form. But he did have that one very nice stop where he charged in and finished the play with physicality. And I was like, that's the guy. Where's he been? Where's he been? I missed that guy.
Maybe that's what it took.
That was what I said to my buddy right after it happened. Immediately, I'm like, what? That play will give him some confidence.
Yeah,
he'll feel better about the knee. Maybe start playing more instinctively. Not be so hesitant. This is a good thing.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I'm just hoping that continues on an upward trajectory. He's a young guy, he's a likable guy, and I don't. Were you guys, Ian? Were you surprised to see that they had already said they're not going to give him his 5th-year option?
Did they say that officially?
They did not say that.
See, I don't think they did.
Some douchebag, JPA Sports, says the Steelers will not award Devin Bush his 5th-year option per Ed Bouchette. Ed Bouchette never said that.
Has Ed come out and said that he never said that?
Nope.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't see Ed say it anywhere.
Yeah.
Ed did not say it. And
they don't have to make that decision
tweet
yet.
They never make it until May.
Yeah.
Right.
Ever. Unless your name is TJ Watt, and then they're like, it's March 31st.
Yeah,
you better just go ahead and acknowledge the obvious that we're going to give him his 5th-year option. They never decide that early, and they don't have to decide now. It's total horseshit. And Bouchette never said that. Never.
No, and what irritates me is it gets picked up on a lot of the regional stuff, and it pops up on things like
Bouchette didn't deny it. He's like, I'm gonna let this play out, and then later on, I'm gonna say you're a douchebag. I never said that.
Well, I hope so.
I'm gonna draw myself a little publicity for denying the fact that some idiot said I said something, but I didn't say.
Well, yeah. Ian, what else stood out from you or for you from the game on Sunday? Obviously, Boswell. Not so good at times. The kickoff, to me, the kickoff was horrible as well.
It was, but he also made a 53-yarder. So there's that. But I was gonna say Akila Weatherspoon.
What the hell was that?
That
he should never play slot again as long as ever.
Is the Pierre
should only play outside? Pierre got benched.
I think that experiment's over for the time being.
I don't. I think they basically are like, okay, well, you lost your spot to Weatherspoon and earn it back.
Well, I think there was a couple of things in play here. Number one, they said, I think it was Butler that said, Pierre's a young guy. He lost some confidence, and they didn't want him to just totally shut down. So they were like, we're going to sit him for a little while, let him work back through, build his confidence back up because we have high hopes for him for the future. So they're not totally shutting the door there on Pierre.
Yeah.
The other part of it was that somebody, it might have been Butler also, said that like when Weatherspoon got here, they were like, he didn't show a lot of urgency. He didn't pick up the playbook real fast. Like, he was kind of slow in coming along, which is why he just didn't get a helmet for so long. But that that play he made on that pass to Andrews down the seam.
Yes.
I mean, he had an outside position and then undercut the route. And I mean, that was a huge third down play. I don't care that he didn't intercept it. I know he got 2 hands on the ball. I don't care he didn't pick it off. But like, I mean, to break that pass up was a great play to undercut Andrews. And, you know, we've kind of struggled against some tight ends this year, and he's a bigger corner. He's what, 6'3", 6'4"?
And he is long. Man, he's got some long arms
too. That, I mean, that if he's finally come around mentally to like being able to play, he's a guy you can put out there to cover tight ends and bigger receivers too.
Nice. Yeah. I think he's better outside. I think he's a better boundary corner. He can use the sideline to his advantage. He's a better boundary corner than he is a field corner.
Yeah.
And that's generally true of the longer guys.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not as good in the slot. They're not. And I don't think I don't know. If it's me, I don't play him inside ever again. I move Cam Sutton inside and I play him outside.
Yeah. Yes and no. And here's what I'll say on that. That I think he's better on the outside against bigger receivers. Mm-hmm. I would not put him on like a Tyreek Hill, who's a tiny guy, right?
Okay,
like
that's fair.
Think about Joe Hayden. Joe Hayden was always good against AJ Green, receivers, who was a bigger guy, but sucked against Antonio Brown, who was a smaller guy, right? I wouldn't match him up against the small, speedy guys. Like
the water bug receivers. I agree. And those guys are really, really hard to cover.
Yeah.
And really the only guy I ever saw who was good at it was Shea Townsend, and that's been
a while.
A long while.
Wasn't Witherspoon the one that got torched in the Raiders game by Ruggs?
You did on that long pass. Yeah.
He got torched by he's been torched several times this season. Like every time he's played, we've been like, wow, that was a great trade. What the fuck, Colbert? And then he comes out this game and it's like, oh, actually, it was a fantastic trade. I will take a 5th round pick for a win over the Ravens every time.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yes.
Fine.
No question.
Yeah. The one other thing I will mention too, because I know we've harped on this a lot, that there was at least one play, it may have happened more, but where the Ravens moved their running back to the outside and Devin Bush followed him out there, and we matched up corner for receiver on the inside in the slot and did not have a linebacker on a slot receiver.
Thank you, baby Jesus.
Yes. So I did notice that happen at least one time. Maybe it might have happened more, but there was one time when I saw the running back go out and Devin Bush went out there with him. I was like, oh,
they
didn't send a cornerback out there.
Remember when Vince Williams used to do the same thing? When he'd run out and cover the running back who was out on the edge. And I remember what a concept.
What a concept.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've covered a lot of different guys in here, and Dan Moore looked like he was dinged up pretty bad. Came back in. I appreciated the toughness. I didn't think he was that bad. I thought he did a decent job in the run game.
I thought he did fine, honestly.
Yeah. I mean,
granted, I'm looking through the lens that this kid is a 4th round pick.
Yep.
Rookie who got thrown into the fray way sooner than he should have been. He should have been allowed to develop this year. Play a little on special teams, maybe be the 3rd tackle, that kind of a player. He really is stepping up. And I think long term, he's going to be a good player.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're going to draft another left tackle. They should draft a right tackle next year, in my opinion, and a right guard. But that's another show.
Now, when he left the game, they kicked Chooks over to left. Banner came in and played the 1 or 2 plays at right, and that was it.
Right.
Stephon Tuitt is the mystery of all mysteries right now. Banner's a close second.
Banner, I'm sorry. Banner. Okay. Yes, he's recovering from the knee.
Yeah.
He really wants to play. He says he's 100%. The coaches are like, Banner's a plotter. And if you look at that tape last year before he got hurt from the Giants game, he did not have a good game. It was rough. I'm just at this point, I like the guy a lot.
Sure.
As a human being.
Great human being.
Based upon what I can tell, from this distance and obviously social media, but that doesn't make him a great player. And Chooks, I think he's gone. I would not re-sign him at market value. There's no fucking way. He's not the right guy. And Trey Turner is old and not super effective, and half the time is just standing there looking for somebody to block. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? And it's like,
he is an interesting cat, that guy.
Tomlin likes him.
I know. Tomlin always likes the veterans.
I get it, but I'm just like, okay, dude, but molly block or something. Look for. Don't just look in front of you. Look around. Do the 180 degrees. I don't know. Anyway,
here's what I'll say on Moore is, coming out in the draft, he had one of the best left tackle frames in the class. He just didn't have the technique, right? I mean, he's 6'5", he's got a 34.5-inch wingspan,
right?
Or 34.5-inch arms and like over 10-inch hands. Like, frame
he's got the prototypical left tackle body.
Yes, he does. And he has some athleticism too. I mean, the plays we've been able to like get him out in space and have him throw a lead block. He connects. Like he connects with those defensive backs in space and is able to get a block out there.
And linebackers. Both.
Yeah.
I agree. If he gets a run and he's on the move, look the fuck out.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%.
It's just against speed rushers and sometimes bull rushers. Like he just needs to work on his technique of being an inline blocker.
He is a low polish, or came out as a low polish, high ceiling guy.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
They nabbed him bearing that in mind and went, this is a guy we can develop. Great. But then they just threw him into the fire.
Yeah.
Well, and he
they didn't have a choice. They didn't really have an option.
No,
they had to, but still,
right?
He wasn't expected to be good this year.
Yeah,
no, and he's not.
He wasn't even expected to really contribute this year. I mean,
shouldn't have been
spot duty here and there, but
shouldn't have been. But it's like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
It's like this guy. His best position is left tackle. You can't just stick him at right. Chooks has played both. Played a whole season at it last year. We're going to move Chooks back to right. We're going to put this rookie at left where he's most comfortable, and we're going to ride with it and see what happens. And the offensive line has not been consistent. They have not been good. Kendrick Green is still learning to play center. If he ever learns to use his fucking hands,
man,
he'll be good.
I think Duke Merriweather, the guy that works with so many linemen, he's made some comments about him, and it was basically what you just said. It's not a lack of strength. It's more the hand usage.
No, that kid has a 700-pound squat.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's not long like Pounce was.
Right.
Pouncey was 6'5", he's 6'3". He doesn't have the arm length that Pounce had.
Nope.
I don't think he's as quick off the snap as Pounce was, but he's quick.
No. Yeah.
But his hand usage, he just doesn't get it yet. He's just not there yet.
Right.
But the strength and the athleticism is there.
I think so too.
He just needs to learn to play center.
That was the thing about Pouncey too. I remember like his first couple years, he had some of the fastest hands that I've ever seen, of any lineman. Doesn't matter what position.
Yep.
Like the speed of his hands to snap a ball and like start hand fighting
back up.
Yeah,
immediately.
Pouncey's hands were so fast.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was just incredible. He'd keep D linemen off of him.
Yeah.
And/or, when he was really young too, he just grabbed guys and fucking pancake them. And it was like, oh, Jesus.
So the Steelers have 5 games left. They'll play Thursday night in Minnesota. Ian, what's it going to take for them to get into the postseason? Is it going to take 10 wins, or can they afford to have only 9?
I think, here's the thing. And
9.5.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Ben's exactly right. I haven't been on the show because my kids have been awake since we had that friggin' tie. But I always feel like when you tie, it either like gets you into the playoffs by a half a game, or you miss the playoffs by a half a game.
Yep.
Like a tie is always that half game that gets you in or half game that keeps you out of something, right? The 2002 when we tied the Falcons? The half game, if we would have won that game, we would have had the number 1 seed and then wouldn't have had to go to Tennessee in the divisional round and have Joe Nedney win an Oscar for whatever he did. Fuck Joe Nedney. But
he's dead, Ian. Nice job.
Okay, whatever.
He is. I think he's dead.
He was in the league a few years ago.
Well, I thought he died in an accident or something. Now I got to look.
All right.
Who was the kicker? Who was the Tennessee kicker that died?
I don't know.
Well, keep talking. I'll find it.
No, Nedney's only 48 years old. He's
okay. Well.
Okay. At any rate, Nedney did not die. He was in the league like a couple years ago. Okay, whatever.
Anyway, keep going.
A couple of years ago, really?
It wasn't that long ago.
I think the last time he kicked, based upon his biography, was 2010.
Okay, well,
so no.
You know who I was thinking of? Rob Baronis.
Oh, Baronis,
another Tennessee kicker.
Okay,
yep, he died. He's the one that died in an accident. My apologies to you and to Joe Nedney.
Okay,
fuck
Joe Nedney sucks. Fuck him.
But still fuck Joe Nedney.
Yeah. At any rate, a tie either helps you get in or out. So I think Ben's right. I think three wins. I think 9-7-1 gets us in, or 9-6-1, whatever.
9-6-1.
9-6-1 gets us in.
No, it'd be 9-7-1.
No, it'd be 9-6-1.
No, there's 17 games this year. Mark's right.
Oh, he's right. 9-7-1.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Sounds weird.
However, two wins gets us to 8-8-1.
Fuck
and it's
you,
still
Ian.
not a losing season.
Fuck you.
But at any rate, we got to beat this Minnesota team. Like, I know going on the road on a Thursday night's really tough.
Yeah.
But
I can't believe they're favored.
Dalvin Cook is out. Adam Thielen's out. I mean, Justin Jefferson's really darn good.
Adam
Thielen,
whatever the hell his fucking name is. He may be out. Maybe.
Yeah.
He left the game on Sunday. He might be out.
Yeah, he didn't play the whole second half.
But Jefferson's in, and that guy's better. I'm sorry.
Jefferson's really darn good.
Jefferson's fucking good. He is. I mean, honestly, if he's playing in a good offense with a good quarterback, he'd be scary good.
He's in like that same echelon as Randy Moss, Jerry Rice in the first 2 or 3 years of his career. It's crazy.
I'm just
the yardage.
saying he would be stupid good if he was on a good team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if Tom Brady was throwing him the ball, and I hate to use the Tom Brady thing, but good offensive line, good run game, quarterback who can deliver the ball on a timely basis.
Mm-hmm.
Jefferson he might be getting votes for like offensive player of the year.
Yeah, he's very good.
Yeah.
And instead he plays in Detroit where they have kind of a soft offensive line and so run game and a quarterback who's not very good.
You mean Minnesota?
Sorry, Minnesota. Excuse
me. Yeah.
Yes, Detroit. Jesus.
That other dome up north.
The other dome. So stupid. That sucker out in the middle of the frozen tundra like Green Bay.
Yeah. But I don't know. Minnesota's such a weird team, though. Like they're always right around like 500 in the playoff picture, but like they don't win any playoff games. You know, Mike Zimmer's been around for a long time. I mean, he was a defensive coordinator in Cincinnati for a while, so we should have some familiarity with his defense. But like, I don't know. Like Minnesota's never been like
they won the 1 year in New Orleans, right? The overtime game.
Yeah, they did. But they've never. And they went to the championship game that year, the NFC championship game, but they've never been like good enough to be a Super Bowl contender, but they're never like completely out of the playoff picture either. So they're just a weird, like middle of the road franchise.
Yep. Which I'm sure frustrates their fans to no end. So Ben, what do you got for a final score coming up on Thursday night from US Bank Stadium?
U.S. Bank Stadium.
I know.
I'm gonna roll with Steelers 21, Minnesota 18.
Oof. Okay. All right, Ian.
That's very close to mine, actually. So I'm glad Ben didn't take it. I'm gonna go Steelers 23, Vikings 20.
Oh,
dog. All right. Well, I too am feeling the Steelers here. I really don't know what to feel after the last 2 weeks, but I just got a feeling. I'll go Steelers 24, Vikings 17.
Here's the
comfortable
other
margin.
thing, too. This is our first game in a dome this year.
Yeah.
And we haven't played on turf in a while. And there's
Buffalo, I think.
Yeah,
the first game.
First game.
And things are just different on turf, and especially in a dome too.
Yep.
So Ben plays really well in a dome. Like, have you ever thought that if Ben played his whole career in Indy where Peyton played, like how good his numbers look? Like, Ben always plays so good in a dome. So I think some things might get a little better offensively, I'll say.
I agree.
I hope you're right.
Yeah. With all that, we'll wrap things up, guys. Make sure all of our listeners, you check out the site, steelcityblitz.com. Check out the Twitter account at SC Blitz, and of course, Facebook, Steel City Blitz, and all those other wonderful things
one
like
other
that.
thing from
Ian,
my
go.
end. Yes. So those people that do read our website will know that I'm very into Western Pennsylvania high school football.
Yeah.
This is state championship weekend in Western Pennsylvania. I have my WPIL versus all Yins shirt on. We have 5 WPIL teams in state title games this week, 5 out of 6. So I just finished recording a podcast for that too. So check that out.
5 out of 6. How many classes are there?
There's 6.
There are 6 classes, and 5 of those teams made the final.
Yeah.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Pretty damn good. All due to the wonderful coverage that Ian provides.
Is that what it is?
I
That's
believe
fantastic.
There's some mojo going on there or something.
Mojo.
Anyway, thanks to these 2 clowns, and thank you for listening. Make sure you give us good ratings and reviews and all that on YouTube and other stuff, since now you have to look at our ugly mugs every once in a while if you're not listening. But anyway, we will be back next week. And this has been the SCB Steelers Podcast, presented by DEK Roofing Incorporated of South Florida. And hey, go Steelers!
And hey, Ravens suck. Obviously.
Yes, they do.